The Backpacks for Uganda project launch was made possible by Appalachian Healthcare Co-workers of Boone, North Carolina, Church of the Ascension Children of New York, New York, and St. Luke's Episcopal Church members of Boone, North Carolina. Thanks for jump-starting the project. This is Michael Magala.
And I am Edith Mubanda. Our organization is called Trustlines Development Network. It is a non-profit organization with headquarters in Boone, North Carolina.
We are on our way to Ajija, a village in Moikwe district, 36 miles east of Kampala. Short distance as that sounds, it takes about 2 hours to get there because of the very bad road conditions. We are about to launch one of our projects called Backpacks for Uganda.
The mission for Trustlines is to advocate, foster, and promote engaging projects. These activities are hands-on and they need to be sustainable. Trustlines provides resources as well as education to help alleviate poverty. The passion to minimize poverty and improve living standards in Uganda was really born out of a desire for both of us to give back in some way to a community that raised us until we left Uganda. Over the years, we have donated and participated in various causes.
Although some of the activities blossomed more than others, we decided to address the poverty problem systematically and through specific projects. That's how we formed Trustlines Development Network. This organization involves more people and benefits the larger rural population.
Now, the Backpacks for Uganda documentary would not be complete if we omitted background information. We'll give you some statistics, talk about the area, present personal stories of some of the children and families, how they live, what they do, and then we'll get to the project.
Despite the poverty, the people are some of the friendliest and happiest in the world. Multiple reports indicate that 84% of the Ugandan population lives in rural areas. Although Uganda is beautiful and fertile, 67% of the population lives in abject poverty and is highly vulnerable. In the central region alone, 56% of rural children aged 0 to 4 years old experience multiple deprivations.
The Ugandan government spends roughly $300 million, $300 million every year on universal primary education, or UPE. Even then, parents are still responsible for about 1/2 of the tuition, and the burden of that cost on parents is enormous. Now, the parents we talk to really question the quality of the education that is provided by universal primary education, and so they opt to take their children to private schools despite the cost.
The average monthly income for well-to-do families in rural areas is about $63 for an average family size of 5. Most rural families derive their income from agriculture and fisheries, petty trade in crafts, selling produce, used clothes, and other basic needs in the local markets. Given that tuition is about $73 per term, terms would be the equivalent of the semester, just one term, to educate a nursery level child, the monthly income of $63 is not enough to pay one child's tuition, let alone meet any other family needs. And remember, as the children get older, school and tuition needs increase from $63 for kindergarteners to about $120 per term for 7th graders. Regan Matovu, 11 years old, and Kevin Katongole, 9 years old. Our local team of 5 arrived at our rural farm base on a Thursday evening to meet with Ajija village elders for guidance on selecting backpack recipients for Sunday. Regan and Kevin were hanging around with us under a tree where we were roasting chicken for supper. The boys were constantly and unhappily looking down while mumbling something to a respectable-looking leader working with us.
We then noticed the worn-out t-shirts they were wearing. They were t-shirts likely donated from the United States and ending up in the local market, where they probably bought them. We made a big deal out of what was written on them, because one of them said USA Army and the other one said misunderstood.
Where do you go to school?
Regan never seemed to warm up to our dialogue, and we did not know why. But we had kept the kids long enough and decided to dismiss them with, okay, come back tomorrow and we'll talk some more. However, it seemed that Regan and Kevin were not about to leave anytime soon, so we eventually asked, exactly what is it that you need? You look very sad, and you've been standing here for quite some time. We later learned that Regan had done some work on the farm, but had not been paid the 1,000 shillings, equivalent to 29 US cents, he was owed. And Kevin was even owed more, 2,000 shillings, worth about 59 cents. The boys claimed they had been asking for their money for weeks to no avail.
And now this is when Michael did something spontaneously that was heartwarming. He reached into his pocket and gave each of them 1,000 shillings more than they were owed. The change in their demeanor and the smile on their faces were enough. They knelt down to thank Michael again and again, grinning with delight. We also backtracked and asked them what work they had done to be owed that money. They explained that they did a lot of manual work and they had not been paid, in spite of making multiple trips to request for the money. Michael used this opportunity to speculate that each of them could use a backpack and perhaps school supplies, and asked them to return on Sunday. They were extremely delighted and ran away giggling and very, very happy.
Kevin and Regan portray a cross-section of a typical rural Ugandan kid, with all the trials and tribulations of being poor. So, but this case, adults similarly experience late payments for work or no payment at all.
Michael and I, along with our team of local coordinators, spent a good amount of time visiting village leaders and families of children who participated in the Backpacks program. We really wanted to see how they live, the challenges they face, and to get recommendations of which children needed our help the most. We talked to mothers and grandparents as they went about their daily chores. Some were still in their gardens, as were these ladies who were deciding which banana bunch to harvest for dinner. Others were preparing meals. Some children and grandchildren were grazing goats, others fetching water from the well, as grown-ups were busy with other chores.
We got some insights in how deep-rooted the poverty problem is. Even though we grew up in Uganda, it was rather heartbreaking to see such great need and the economic disparities so apparent But getting to know the family members and playing with the children before inviting them to the occasion was highly informative. Juliet, a single mother of 4, depends on income from trading second-hand clothes in the market, rearing goats, and grows food to sell in the local market. She sold us the goat whose price was being negotiated by one of the village elders.
We boosted Juliet's income by buying a goat from her for $48. At the same time, we were recruiting her children for the program. And the money we paid for the goat was actually enough to pay for tuition for a semester for 2 of her elementary school children. Now that was another smile that will forever be etched in our memories.
Lulimba denga manji mutulese wala kulala naye mutambule. Ndoza kamaro
In the local market, a mixture of used and new goods are sold together. Most of the new items in the markets are made in China. Some people sell milk, others roasted corn, fresh fruits, and vegetables. Roasted and cooked foods, including pork, meat, chicken, corn, and mini meals, are popular items of trade and consumption. Used household items such as pots, pans, and other kitchen utensils can be found, along with soap, bedding, and other used clothes and shoes. These type of markets are only held on Sundays and are the last remaining hours before sunset. This is where you come to bargain. The seller usually suggests a price, but it's an understood rule that the buyer counter offers and all prices are negotiable. The locals know never to accept or pay for the first suggested price and always seek the lowest price offer. The seller, on the other hand, is not expected to accept the first counter offer. Music from the local radio stations can be heard playing in the background while strolling through the markets. Some kiosks selling tomatoes, bananas, pineapples, mangoes, and other necessities are also run through the markets. Most of these people conduct business with their children at the kiosk all day. We often gave little kids we found hanging around with their parents Matchbox cars. Of course, both the kids and the parents were delighted with the unexpected gifts that occupied the children's time while the parents were at work. Here you will find a child honoring an adult by kneeling down in gratitude of the gift.
Children scheduled to participate in the Backpacks for Uganda project began arriving around lunchtime, somewhere between 12 and 1 p.m. The children arrived wearing their Sunday best and proceeded to register with Miranda Ziraba, our local educator.
Serwaji Steveni. Kalekezi atinga bwagaye enjalo zali akoje kumugo vitufu
Somera watu obinga edwa Lawrence somera wano somera
Hello, I'm Edith Mubanda and I'm with Professor Michael Magala. We are in Ajija, Buikwe district in Uganda, and we've come to see how we can work with local residents to start development projects that are sustainable
and
hands-on, that they can do themselves to improve standards of living, something that they can own, but that they can also participate in giving us advice in how to best start those projects and work on those projects so that they can help their families in the long run and not depend on other people to help them all the time. And right now we've got three ladies that I'll let introduce themselves and tell us what they do, who are local residents that we've started working with and talking with to help us negotiate how we can do this.
How we can best help them. Yeah, cutting up.
Amanya gange, this is a Nachiwala, ndi wano Buikwe district. Emirimu gyange gya kulima n'okulunda awaka nfunamu obuyambi bwonna obunyamba awaka n'abaana gende nabo.
Amannya gange nze Juliet Namukasa, antula wano mu Buyimbe District, ekyalo Ajiija. Omulimu gwange kulima, kwebezaawo n'abaana bange, nsobolako ne ku muntu otondo n'okusobola okuyambako awamu ebyange.
Amannya gange Halima Nakisuule, ndi mukyala mutuuze mu Ajiija era wenzaalibwa. Ndi mukyala mulimi omulunzi era okusinga ebiseera bino mbeera n'abazzukulu okusinga ne bannyambako aka mu kulima kwange n'okulunda egyo emirimu gyange gye nkola.
And these are some of the children who have come to help us launch the project. And they're going to be very, very important in doing the work themselves and taking ownership of some of the projects. So what we're going to do now is to get started by helping with a few back to school supplies, one of which is going to be backpacks for Uganda, and we will give each of them a backpack, we'll give them some pencils, we'll give them some exercise books to help them get started with school when the term starts. Now we won't be able to provide everything they need because they gave us a list of what they need to go back to school, but we'll just give them a little something to jumpstart them so that they can start school equipped with what they need. And they realize that it's very important to work hard in school, do well in school, so that they can get good jobs, or so they can come up with things for self-employment, to take care of their families as they get older.
All right.
The light is going to be
Okay, Kale. Faces to the that one.
Although it was lunchtime and the children were hungry, they were orderly, well-behaved, and patient. We ordered enough sodas for each child to have a whole bottle of soda. No sharing. That translates into a feast for these kids. Soft drinks are still mainly used on special occasions like weddings and Christmas. And many times people have got to share a bottle. What a treat they had. One bottle for each child. More memorable smiles and grins in our minds. Now those children can focus on learning while the parents focus on tuition and uniform. According to the 2015 Situation Analysis of Children in Uganda, published by UNICEF, the introduction of primary education in 1997 significantly increased access to primary education. Total enrollment increased from 3 million children in 1996 to 8.5 million children in 2014. This universal primary education was supposed to be free. However, parents were requested to contribute some fees. Otherwise, their children would be barred from attending the so-called free schools. The fees are prohibitive for the poor households we help and push children out of school, contributing to high rates of dropout. 52% of children drop out of school because of school uniforms, which cost about $25. 22% of children drop out because of books and school supplies, which account for about $15. And 21% of children drop out because of building funds, an equivalent of about $10. The backpacks launch was a success. Nevertheless, after handing out the backpacks, we realized that Kevin and Reagan were not around. Yet we saw them at the beginning. We thought, that perhaps they felt out of place and left.
Now, I think Reagan and Kevin misunderstood what we invited them back for. They probably thought that it was to do some work at the farm, and this time be paid promptly. Yet what Michael had in mind was for them to participate in the Backpacks project.
Even though there were many smiles of appreciation imprinted in our minds, we cannot get the faces of Reagan and Kevin off of our minds. We have questions like, what jobs are they doing now for extra cash? Are they in school? Do they want to be in school? The questions are endless.
Now, the next time we go to Uganda, we hope to look for Reagan and Kevin to learn even more about them. We really want to help them and other children like them to either get back in school or at least learn an employable skill.
A backpack, pencils, a notebook, and other school supplies for one elementary school child costs about $25. All the children deserve at least that. With your help, this is doable.
We thank you for your support in this project. We ask everyone who can to partner with us to give a helping hand to children like Reagan and Kevin be ready for school. And you can do this by participating in the Backpacks for Uganda project.